What's up, everybody? Mike here, and in this video, we finally got some high-level gameplay of Dragon Age Veilguard to talk about, and you'll see here as well, too, as I go over the tidbits here. But yeah, want to give you guys an update on that, and it's actually looking pretty damn good. I am pleasantly surprised when it comes to the combat. Like, the high-level combat looks way better than what they've shown off before. But going into more details, if you look at the Dragon Age Veilguard video yourself separately from this video, like it'll teach you how to prepare for battle, the basic combat, crowd control, combo detonations, and a lot more than that, which I'll talk about thoroughly here in a bit. And the good thing is it does not contain any spoilers, like nothing really that major, you know? Some other good news here is that you will be able to issue commands to your companions, which, I mean, they did allude to that being a thing you can do, technically. You'll also be able to pause time so that you can choose your cast abilities, and that is really good there too. I don't know whether the story will be good or not yet, but at least from a combat, mechanics standpoint, it looks like, yeah, the combat's going to be fun, even though they are giving us less to work with, basically. It does seem like it's still going to be pretty solid and fun. Well, let's dive into this. So, starting with prepare for battle portion of this, by choosing warrior, the fighting style revolves around close range, combat, and defense skills. Traits, runes, and abilities are customizable to best suit that type of playstyle. The loadout will have slots for abilities, access from the ability wheel, picking which abilities from the many in the arsenal to bring into battle is a strategic choice made for each encounter, and they can be swapped out anytime, except during combat. For some added depth, though, there are up to 3 equipable runes. Runes provide a variety of control, utility, and or additional damage to synergize with your build. While in combat, all 3 runes can be cycled through and activated. There are a wide range of potential abilities that are unique to each class and can be customized by spending skill points. For example, the warrior class will have certain abilities that deal fire damage, right? Players can plan their build around this, and each skill point spent could be in pursuit of this build. Each step taken is designed to augment Rook and or abilities. Eventually, Rook will gain access to specializations, which grant powerful abilities that are unique to each specialization. These specializations will also provide a unique ultimate ability. More on that in a bit, though. And its ultimate ability is tuned to the theme of that specialization. So a warrior specializing as a Great Warden champion will gain access to devastating Incinerate Warden's fire that launches a flurry of serious strikes that ignite foes. And what we know of so far in terms of specializations, we got the Reaper, which is described as become Knight's Blade, steal life and risk death to gain incredible unnatural abilities. Honestly, that sounds really dope. I like a Reaper style class or Grim Reaper type style class, so I'm very tempted to possibly do my first playthrough as that specialization. Then there's Slayer, leap into the fray, wield massive, punish weapons while rushing enemies to deal devastating blows. That's another good one for Warrior. That's very tempting. And maybe we can do 2 specializations in this game. I don't think they've confirmed that yet. And then third is Champion. Beat a shield, shrug off damage while summoning Righteous Fire down on enemies. And in this gameplay, I want to note, though, because I was looking at this, and it's clearly the Champion specialization for the Warrior class here. And some of the moves that the Warrior's doing as Champion is, like, really kind of sick. It's almost Captain America-esque in terms of what the heck you can do with the shield. The shield moves. Like, I'm not mad at all by that. That's actually pretty sick in terms of what you can do. It's almost, you almost kind of feel like Captain America in a way. Not obviously 1-to-1, but I don't know. There's just some stuff in there I'm seeing, and you can see here too, that just gives me those type of vibes. Then there's the Rogue, which has 3 specializations that are duelists, draw your steel, parry, and dodge past enemies to gain strength with every strike. Saboteur, set the stage, deploy explosives and turrets that devastate enemies, then pick them off with arrows. And the third, Veil Ranger, hunt the enemy, snipe enemies from afar using artifacts that charge arrows with dangerous, powerful magic. Pretty cool, right? And then Mage has 3 here. We got Death Caller, embrace the dark, drain life from enemies, and cast spells that writhe with the essence of death itself. Very, very kind of similar to Reaper, it feels like, with that one. Then second one here, Evoker, called Void, frees enemies in their tracks, then summon the deepest cold to tear them apart. Very cool if you want to go for a ice mage build. Spellblade, Beat a Storm, channel potent spells for close quarters combat infused with Lightning's Wrath. Basically, battle mage. So, but yeah, Deathcaller and Reaper kind of seem to be similar in regards to what their themes are about. Or almost like a Necromancer or just Death Knight type of build. So, really intriguing. Combat basics, so let's talk about foundations of the combat system here. The 4 core moves that all 3 classes share include jump, dodge, light attack, and heavy attack, right? Which can all be chained together. Rook can dodge anytime, even mid-attack, which adds fluidity to the combat. Light attacks do quick damage and build small amounts of stagger. Heavier attacks are slower and build more stagger to your opponent. Once some stagger is built, the enemy will be rendered more vulnerable to all incoming damage and allows Rook to perform a takedown. Each of these attacks can be charged by holding down the button to deliver a more potent version of the strike. For example, a heavy attack can be charged while using a staff to unleash a magical wave of destructive energy. Attacks can also be triggered while sprinting and or jumping to add depth and fluidity to combat. In addition, each class has ranged attacks, blocks, or parries, if timed properly that is, and the ability to control companions' combat strategy. Each class also has 2 distinct weapon sets, which can be swapped seamlessly in the heat of battle. This drastically changes the available move sets and strategies. Heavy attacks remove armor barrier faster, and ranged attacks remove shield barrier faster. There's also the stagger meter, which builds as hits are landed against an enemy. Stagger creates opportunities for bonus damage and special takedown. The ability wheel pauses the fight for more precise control over Rook's own abilities and those of their companions, and where those tactical RPG elements come into play. Players can use the ability wheel to assign companions to attack specific enemies, individually or together. Abilities can also be bound shortcut keys to keep the action flow going. Instead of always bringing up the ability wheel, vulnerabilities and resistances of enemies can also be seen while targeting enemies in the ability wheel. For example, Darkspawn are weak to fire damage, right? Next up is talking about buffs, debuffs, and crowd control. So, some abilities apply buffs or debuffs to help you in a fight. For example, Devrin has the Heroic Strike ability, which applies the Overwhelm debuff to enemies. This will increase the enemy's stagger and make it easier for Rook to perform a takedown. There are also area of effect abilities to help the party defeat large groups of enemies. Controlling the field of battle is a key consideration in Dragon Age of Veilguard. Players will need to consider which buffs, debuffs, or crowd control abilities will work best for each situation. Abilities require class resource, mana, momentum, and rage, to be able to use. Each class primarily builds up their class resource by dealing damage with basic attacks. In addition, each class has a secondary way to build their class resource. Warriors build rage by taking and dealing damage, right? Rogues build momentum by dodging attacks and parrying successfully, which makes sense. And mages regain mana passively over time. Warriors who go into battle with a sword and shield build will have access to the shield throw volley, which is kind of like a Captain America type of move. By landing a heavy attack on a shield throw return, the shield will ricochet, taking out multiple enemies. This sequence can repeat up to 3 times, causing a devastating ring of damage around Rook. This attack works well against swarms as well as distant adversaries. Other ways to manage distant enemies lean into companion abilities, such as Devrin's Death from Above to send Asan, his griffin, to attack enemies. Warriors also have the Grappling Spear ability to pull enemies close for an easier victory. With these tools, attacks can be chosen based on the type of enemy and situation to dispatch foes in the most optimal way, especially on higher difficulty. And then lastly, I want to talk about primers, detonators, and ultimates. Many abilities include some type of coordinating effect and serve as either a primer or detonator that can result in devastating combo attacks when properly executed with the companions. These ability combos can be set up in the ability wheel. Finally, you have your most powerful attack, Rook's class ultimate ability. Doing damage to enemies increases your ultimate meter. The ultimate meter won't fully fill during smaller skirmishes because they're designed to decimate a significant swath of the battlefield or the toughest bosses. All of these options combine together to create a rich combat experience that's highly customizable. The entire skill tree is also fully refundable too. Like, that is amazing. Skill points can be redistributed, so you're pretty much encouraged to try out multiple builds, use different abilities for each mission, and change up the companions you bring into battle. So awesome stuff there, guys. There's still a lot more that they're going to be talking about revealing soon here in the coming weeks leading up to the launch of the game. This is still just scratching the surface of what this game is going to offer overall in terms of the overall content and what you can do. So awesome stuff there. I'm happy they finally, let us get a look at high level combat, how it is. Now, one thing I will say though, I mean, I'm hoping this isn't too much in the game overall. I know it's probably just done for this video purpose, just to educate people on things, but it definitely comes off a bit handholdy. So I'm hoping that there's not too much of handholdiness to the game in terms of the tutorial and like hints and whatnot with that. So we'll see when it fully launches. Like I said, I think it was just done just because they wanted to have be part of the high level gameplay to be really clear on what is being shown off in it and what you can do with your character. So, and as well as your companions too. But yeah, let me know what you guys think though. Please comment below your input, your thoughts, everything about this. Does this make you more excited for the game overall? Or are you still kind of on the fence a bit? Are you still worried about the story, even if the gameplay is pretty solid? Or are you already pretty much sold on everything? Don't want to know too much beyond this, basically. Let me know. Love to hear from you. Also, if you enjoyed this video, please hit that thumbs up. It helps out a ton. My name's Mike. Thanks for watching.